Okay, welcome to the lesson. So in this lesson we're going to use Firebase or Firestore databases and React.js to build an app. So we can obviously it's a silly app, but it just gives you some tools on the way to building the app you want to build. So go shopping. Whoa. And it goes away, and then we can sort these alphabetical order. Slowest to fastest. I think it already was like that. So that's all that. So it's using React hook. So there's good stuff to learn in this to take on with you. So we'll close this now. Add a project. Just time. Doesn't matter what you call it. Continue. Default. Create project. So this will take a while, so now you can go to the terminal. npx. Oh, what am I doing? Terminal. So I like to put in my desktop folder. If you want to get this, create React app. Just call your name, just time it. So it's starting to build now. So you can skip ahead. I'm not going to edit this video probably, so to skip ahead a bit. It's take a while to load. So this ready. So we're ready in here. Okay, you want to go here, web. Call it what you want, just time it. Don't worry about hosting. This you can actually host your app for free to a certain size. So sure, there's plenty of other tutorials for that. So next we'll do this one. Okay, and then you want to get this, copy, or you can actually copy that Firebase config down there. Copy all that, and hopefully this project is no, it's gonna take a while. So we're gonna go open folder, the desktop. Just gonna wait here until this finishes. Shouldn't be too much longer. Feel free to skip through. I'll just be sitting here. Here we go. I should say happy hacking at the end. Can't really do anything while we wait because we've done it all. Okay, so that's it done. Happy hacking. Come desktop. I think it's called just time it. Oh, sorry. You should actually click there and open. JS. Go Command Shift P, enter. npm start, and that will show it up here on this. Also, what we want to do, go npm install Firebase, so we get the package that we need. Come to source, go new file, Firebase config .js. So remember that Firebase config that we copied before. So you also want to import Firebase from Firebase app. and then import Firebase Firestore, which is the database. And then export default Firebase. Save that. So come to app.js. Go to app.css first. Oh, what's happened here? So you should normally get the React default, which has got all this stuff here. Oh, all this stuff. So if you come to app.js, get rid of all this. And that should say hello up top, good. So come back to here. All the CSS I'm just going to copy from my other file. Okay, app.js logo, nope. Oh, we've actually styled that thing. So come back to here. So you're gonna add another control on Mac, control click, new folder, components. And then in there, I'll go back to my other one. Copy. Just gonna paste it in npm. I'm pretty sure I just told you to install Firebase, so if you haven't, make sure you do that. Npm install Firebase. So it's not going to pile because we have to add these two components here. The command / oh, it's still not going to work because you have to do those. So I'll just add these in. So new file, add time entry form .js. You can put JSX, it doesn't matter. And then the other one was times list .js. So that's right. Now times list. So times list, you get this now. Copy. So there's a lot to go through, but we will go through it. And we'll fix these errors in a second. And also add entry form. Add entry form. I think that these things at the top I have to get rid of. This should be working, which it is. That's our app there. So we can add these stuff. How long does it take to make lunch? Probably 1,000 seconds. Oh, that's not getting rid of that, which is strange, because that should, after that's submitted, get rid of that. Maybe I didn't save everything correctly. Option Command S. Add time entry. So we'll go through times list first. Okay, so don't worry about this for now. Use times. So you're going to start off with function use times, add this in. If you just want to copy this down and I'll go through it. Because this is the function here, use times, and this is the sort of component here, and then we export default times list. So times list is this here. So you've got the selection, and then we've got the list of times here. So we've got an ordered list, the list items, and to get the list items we map through the times. So if you come into the database, it's funny that's working. Maybe that's from my old project. That might be why. So we'll have to wait till this done. Setting up security rails. I think I've got the config file from my old project. Maybe not. So now I'll show you more the apologize for this. So actually I have to go back up here. I think I've connected to my old project. Project settings. It should load down here in a second. Config. Copy. Come back to my config. Let's see if this was different. Yeah, I think we were running on my old, connected to the old one. Oh, there we go, and it goes away. So there was a bit of confusion there because I just built the same app. 9 seconds. So come back to here. Click here for your database. We want to delete all this. Deletes. You notice you add something in here. Get an auto ID, title, seconds, should be a number. Now that should show up on here, which it does. So there's like a open socket, so whenever something's added from the app or from this, it's yeah, it's just an open socket is what you'd call it. So come back to here, I'll show you. So we go to times list. So get all this down and it'll now explain everything. Okay, so up the top we want to import React, use state, use effect, import Firebase from the config file. Don't worry about this for now. Actually, I will explain that. So anyway, first on this page we've got a function which is a use effect function. So with the use effects function, when this value changes, this is refied again. so it fires off this whole function when this value changes. And another thing is you could just have this like this, but the problem is when we say this was a website, if we left this page, that function would still be calling in the background. So when we leave this page, we want that to stop and then only start again when we're on this page. So that's why we have this here. So it's hard to explain how it does it. We just set the function to nothing. So this is not called again. So when we leave the page here, this is set to nothing, so it stops listening. So there's no socket between here and here. So we're not going to update it here, but if we update it here, that function won't be open. So, but it will be when we go back to this page. So it will show us the stuff. So what that does is just when we leave this page, it just sets its function to nothing, so it stops listening to this part in the database. Okay, so use state. So that's just const. So the value is times. If you didn't know how a use state works, or React hooked, so say you want to set times, you can call it as set times. Obviously you wouldn't call it here. And then you say 44, and what that would do is sets this to 44, and then if you go console log times, you're going to get 55. But this times here is actually an array of objects. So we go to use vects, we make it constant describe like I showed you, so we're not calling it all the time. So you go Firebase, which is this, .firestore, collection times, which is this here, this collection, then all these documents. So collection times, order, I'm not sure if I already explained this, but this is just fancy for this. So order by title ascending, which means in here, if we refresh this like that and we go descending, if you look up the Firestore Firebase like documents, you'll see how that works. Like it's in the documentation, and then goes the other way. So AAA was up the front before, and so that this here is just giving these values to that here, which we select down below in a minute. So that's what that is. So useVec, we're listening to that, and it's giving us a snapshot of all the documents there. So the snapshot is all these here, and we go snapshot.docs, which will give us all the documents. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So we get, for each doc, we spread the doc.data, which is this stuff, time and title, time and seconds and title, and then we're adding doc.8. So the docs, each doc has an ID, which is this thing here. So basically on this thing we're going ID, we're pretty much going in here and we're going add field, but obviously ID and then giving it its own thing. But we're not doing it in the database, we're just doing it when we get the documents. So then new times, remember, is an array, array of objects, and then these here, you can go through these and console log them to see when when you refresh the page, it actually calls this here. Also, you can set up so when you leave the page it calls it, but the only way to see this go is when you refresh the page. But it won't get called when you add more things and stuff like that. So where was I? So yeah, we get set times, new times. So now we're setting set times to new times. So this whole thing of documents and values is getting set into here. Set times. So cool. Like I said before, set times, it passes all these documents in here. So going down, don't worry about the sort by for now. the sort by relates to these things here, which we'll go through in a second. So come down times list, put these in here. So this here is this here, obviously, and then we're going through the times. So we're getting the times. So without that, it's just use times. So we're getting times from use times. Remember, use times returns the document, the array of objects, and then we get these objects. We map through them again, and then for each one we create a listed component. A list item, and then you have to set a key for each one. If you don't set this, it's going to give you should give you a thought would give you an error. Yeah, key.prop, so that's what that is there. Okay, so back to here. So the ID is always going to be new, so it always has to be new. Time.id, which is, as I said before, that's why we did this here. Pass it in so we can get it down here. And then time.title and time.seconds. So hopefully that's pretty obvious that each one of these is now on this bit here. And might just delete that, I'm not sure we got that funny one there. Oh, so we didn't add the seconds, that's why. So we're not going to do this lesson, but you can put something, say if equal to 0, alert the person that it's not working. We won't do that now. So hopefully that's all pretty good. Now we'll go for the sort by. So if you come up here, options, sort options, get all that down. And then we have a sort by, set sort by, use date, time sending. So this is the first value we'll start off with, and then we'll change it. So when we click on these, so the select an option. So when we click the option, and we click this, what it's doing, it's selecting this one and this value, and then we go this function, the events, sort, set sort by, and so the value for this one, if we click it, will be time ascending. Set sort by, basically time ascending, and this variable will be this string here. So then use times, so then we pass this here. So this basically goes through this function, goes here, and then gets set here in use times. So when this is called again, so this function set this and set this, so when this is set sort by, that's why we added in here. When that's set, it re-fires this function again, so does this whole function. So hopefully that makes sense. So click on this value, say time descending, set sort by, e.currentTarget.value is time descending, sets it here, and then also which calls this one, which fires off this whole thing again here. So when it fires it off, the sort by value, so we pass sort by here as well. So remember, we're passing through sort by, use time sort by, pass through here, and this is at the start, it will be time ascending. but this will actually change to whatever we pass it. So we pass it title ascending, and it comes down here. It goes sort by options, sort by. So that'll be title ascending dot column. So say that's what the one we picked, title ascending. Column will be title. So order by title and direction descending. So I'm probably not great at explaining this, but hopefully you get what I mean and how that works out. Yeah, I think that's it for this page. And add title entry form. Sorry, I should have showed you all the pages first, and then I got to go on through them so you can actually play around with the app. So anyway, add time entry form. These are the use states again. So if you call set title password value, this becomes that value. So we have a form on submit input value. So this here is this here. So we pass through title and time. That calls on submit. So passing through so that calls when it changes, it passes through set title e.target.value. So it passes through whatever we type in, thing pass through to this constant, and same with the time. So whatever we part through, you have to put time. These have to match, remember, the value time. Remember type number. So whatever you type in is getting passed through these up here and stored in these values. And then we click on submit the button. Remember, we're in a form, so the button calls the on submit. You have to get this up here. So when we click, it's calling on submit. And then up here, so the event.prevent default. If you don't have this, it's going to refresh the page. So that's what event.prevent default does. So again, we're going to have Firebase.firestore collection. This time we're adding to the collection. .add title and time in seconds. So if you didn't know, because we have the same value, instead of doing that, we can just go title, and same with time in seconds. Well, not with time in seconds, because we're actually passing the time there. So that's why title's like that. You can also have this. It works the exact same. It's very confusing, but then you get used to it after a while. Okay, so that's going to fire off. It's going to add these to the database. So you'll do this. I probably won't be able to get there fast enough. Or SB number. No. I have to refresh that anyway. So anyway, you should get that anyway. And then after we're done, so we didn't have this dot then, because we're just setting these values back to empty strings. So we don't have that. It doesn't set them back. They just stay there like that. So that's what that does. And that's it. Sorry, I should have showed you this page first so it was easier. But yes. Alright, and any comments, please comment them below. I'd like your feedback. I think this wasn't the best lesson. I should have probably showed everything first or went through it one by one, but just give some tools in the bucket. Thank you.